Kostyanovsky, and today I'm going to tell you about the importance of following through with a merchant on a service that you received and paid for with a credit card as soon as possible. I really encourage you to watch this video through the end because you're going to learn how to approach the merchant when you pass the 90 days period of the initial potential ability to dispute this on your credit card, and work with them directly on having them fulfill the lifetime warranty that they usually promise on a lot of items nowadays. I happened to break the windshield on my Volvo XC90 SUV about the summer of 2017 while I was replacing the windshield wipers. The windshield wiper arm accidentally landed on the windshield and made a big crack. So I started looking into the options of getting a replacement. So I literally Googled the windshields available on the internet, and there are two options: going to the dealer, paying about $800 and getting the original windshield, or going to Safelite and getting a windshield for $280. And of course, I chose the latter. Set up an appointment, went in, they got the windshield installed, everything seemed fine, the windshield looked beautiful, and that problem started appearing as soon as the rain began. And November for sure, December definitely, I've been noticing the squeaking noise coming from the original windshield wipers that actually cost $50 for a pair. Another thing that was going on, the rain sensor was not working. The rain sensor was extremely frustrating as well. It would go crazy and then slow down, then go crazy again. You're gonna see the video of the example of how it's happening. Here we go, this windshield is squeaking again. This thing has been bothering me for quite a few months before I realized that this doesn't have to do with the windshield wipers at all and has to most likely do with the windshield. So I contacted Safelite and they told me that I'd have to schedule an appointment, have them take a look at it. Didn't really have much time in that winter, and finally spring came around and I scheduled an appointment with them in Long Island, New York. Went there and they took a look at it and they basically told me that I can go back home and there's nothing wrong with the windshield, that they're not going to scrap the windshield for something that is just making a tiny squeaking noise, which they couldn't even duplicate as much, and the weather was dry, they couldn't even figure out what was going on. They pretended that everything was fine, put some, from what I later understood, was wax on the windshield and let me just go home and enjoy the squeak for another few months. I tried to message the company and tried to call them, and they literally don't have anything other than the stores that you can contact, so you're literally stuck with talking to representatives from individual stores, which is a franchise, even though they warranty them for lifetime. And eventually I moved west and went to their location in Seattle, had them take a look at it. They basically were trained in exactly the same way as people in New York, polished the windshield with some wax, and sent me back home. One thing that Seattle location did do was set up a little experiment with pouring water out of a bottle on the windshield rain sensor, and we're going to see the footage of this little exciting experiment right now.
What it's doing is it's still you're saying that it'll just stop, but I'm not.
Yeah, if you stop pouring now.
Yeah, it'll go. So it's still dragging water over that rain sensor, and that's why
It shouldn't be dragging it.
water. I mean, it's streaks, so you see all the streaks. So So once it's done saying that there's water up here,
Yeah, I don't. So like yeah, like it's speeding up. Now it's dry. It should already sense. Now it's slowing it down like with like a time lag. So like in the real situation, what will happen? It will rain and it'll just go and then it'll stop and then it would rain harder and then it wouldn't begin to wipe immediately. It would start going slow again, insufficiently, and then it would go fast again and then it would stop. So it's like such an erratic pattern. Like this rain sensor definitely doesn't send it the consistent signal.
yeah, unfortunately, I don't know. I mean, we'd have to call Volvo and see. I mean, my hands are tied because
Yeah.
this looks like it's working to me. So even if I were to flood it,
Yeah. Like now it's a little bit better. Like it should be done wiping, and it keeps. Yeah.
I contacted the Better Business Bureau and told them that the windshield is making the noise and nobody's fixing the problem, and I thought that the problem was in the brand of the windshield. The Better Business Bureau reacted really fast and responded to me with the phone number for the customer relations office of the Safelite Autoglass. I gave them a call and spoke with a gentleman who told me that I could either schedule another appointment to have them take a look at it again, or go to a Volvo dealership or elsewhere and have them evaluate the windshield and write their resolution, and then they could act on that. So I chose the latter, went to the Volvo dealership, took the car for an oil change, and asked the service advisor at the dealership to take a look at the windshield. They immediately spotted the film that Safelite Autoglass applied to the windshield and told me that you're not supposed to put any type of wax or anything like that on the windshield. If anything, you should be wiping it off with rubbing alcohol to make sure there's no grease or any waxes on the surface. And they were extremely happy to write me the technical note on the receipt for the oil change, which stated that the windshield was in fact garbage and it had to be replaced. I was walking around the dealership while the oil change was happening and noted a few other Volvos XC90, and in fact verified that a lot of them would have a replacement windshield with the Pilkington brand, just like the car on this picture. Funny thing is that, in fact, while I was still in the first location of Safelite when the issue started happening back in Long Island, New York, the person there told me that Pilkington is a better brand and that could be installed on the car at customer's request for no extra additional charge at the time of service. And turns out that, if you don't know, they're going to install a cheaper Fuyao windshield. Fuyao, I think. Is that how you pronounce it? Fuyao. On April 10th, I went to the Safelite location in Seattle and had them replace the windshield. You're going to hear the conversation that I had with the receptionist, who pretty much admitted that they've been putting wax on the windshield for no apparent reason, just for kicks. So if they do it to your car, don't let them do it, honestly. You should be going in and fighting for a better windshield if you have this problem. Do you want me to wait, or do you want
Oh, up to you. It takes about an hour, hour and a half. There's
Okay.
only 2 of them doing the replacement, so.
Okay. Oh, cool. So yeah, I mean, if you can give me a call once it's done.
Yeah, let me check your number.
Yeah, when I went to the Volvo dealership, the guy instantly spotted that there's some film on the windshield.
Thank you.
And he's like, who put this film on the windshield?
Well, that was that buffing compound that he tried putting on there to see if it would make the noise go away.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't do the trick either.
Okay. Well, yeah, anyways, yeah, I'll wait for the call. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It appears that Safelite is installing inferior quality windshields on customers' vehicles unless they specifically request a better quality windshield, which actually doesn't even cost any different from their original price tag of $280. So I searched the name of the glass brand Fuyao and came up with a lot of interesting stuff. Apparently there is a documentary on Netflix from 2019 which is called American Factory, and the narrative of the story is that in post-industrial Dayton, Ohio, a Chinese billionaire opens a new factory in the husk of an abandoned General Motors plant. Early days of hope and optimism give way to setbacks as high-tech China clashes with working-class America. Wow, this really sounds like a beginning of a thriller story. I'm really eager to find out more. Let's take a look at the interpretation of the American Factory documentary by the China Global Television Network, CGTN. There's a video from them on YouTube.
Another busy shift at Fuyao's Autoglass, Ohio operation. The Chinese-owned company took over this vast, vacant plant in 2014, having previously been abandoned by General Motors. The plant was the focus of a documentary, American Factory, the first produced for Netflix by a production company established by former US President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle.
This is one interesting factor, that Obama's sponsored the documentary, and I think they've recently received an Oscar for that as well, about 3 months ago. You can take a look at it on YouTube as well. That's an interesting one.
The film raises a range of issues about the company's operations. Jeff Liu is Fuyao's US president. He says watching the film provided important lessons.
I don't feel the negative. For me, always a learning curve. For me personally, I saw the movie 3 times. Every time I see the movie, I learn something from there.
Fuyao's management believes it has now addressed a number of the issues that were raised in the documentary.
The guy, Jeff Liu, sounds like he's a great person. He has an American and a Chinese flag in his office. That's a great combination. They're doing some good work, but besides all those issues that they have addressed already, I would really encourage them to watch my video and address issue number 1, quality control. What happened is that if you take a look at the other manufacturers, in fact, Jeff Liu, why don't you call Pilkington and ask them how do you produce the rain sensors and how do you produce the glass so that it doesn't squeak with the windshield wipers.
This is the moment when the rain sensor decided to go faster, and it's mostly because there was some transfer of moisture from the cars passing by, and then it turned it down as soon as that moisture level went down.
Don't just instruct people to pour water out of a little water bottle on the windshield and pretend that your rain sensor is working, or put some wax on and just like put a band-aid on the issue and have people drive away and just to face the exact same problem 2 days later. In fact, if you go back to the beginning of the video where I added the clip where that Fuyao windshield was on my car, you could see there is some sort of film at the edge where one of the windshield wipers stops, and this is what that wax is. The brand new windshield that I have now, Pilkington, 1-800 Pilkington or whatever their number, I'm sure you can search it on the internet. That's the guys that know how to do it, and for some reason they're able to do it for the exact same amount of money. The worst part about it is, of course, driving around in a car with a squeaky windshield and with a faulty rain sensor when you're expecting things to just work. With that, thank you so much for watching, and make sure to like this video if you like the contents. It took quite a bit out of me to combine all those little clips into the video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and until next time.